in it. And they say to him, you are not even 50 years, how can you say Abraham saw your day? And he said, before Abraham, I am. What was he saying? I am God. I am God. But there is another manifestation of life that Jesus came and we saw. That life was not God walking on earth. That life was man walking in the name of the Lord, with the power of the life of God in him. That life, John talks about it in his first epistle, John chapter 1 from verse 1. He says, that which we saw, that which we heard, that which we touched, that which we ate with, fellowshiped with him, that's what we tell you, that you too may have fellowship with us, because our fellowship is with him. And he said, the word of life, that was from the beginning. So Jesus is God, but Jesus is also man. And everyone who has believed Jesus Christ receives the life of Christ into his heart. The question we want to settle very quickly, which manifestation of Christ's life do we receive? The God life or the man life? Do we receive the life that makes us God, or do we receive the life that makes us Son of God? The Bible does not promise that we shall ever be equal to God. We shall never become God. Even right now, Jesus is sitting on the right hand of the Father. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 says, the Father said to him, sit here on my right hand until I make all your enemies your footstool. And then he says, after all the enemies have been made, have been defeated, even Christ shall be submitted to the Father, that the Father shall be all in all. So there shall be equality. The Father and the Son are one. That's not the life we got. Even when we reach heaven and live there eternally, we will never be equal to the Father. We will never be the same as the Father. And we will never sit in his throne. Never. But Jesus Christ says he has overcome and he has been given to sit in the throne of the Father. Then he invites us and says, if you overcome, I'll give you to sit in my throne as I overcame and I sat in the throne of the Father. The point here I want to make is the life we receive when we become believers is the life that Jesus came with on earth as a human being. And he came as a son of God. And that is the life he gives us. From the beginning, he began to speak divine exchange. He is the Son of God. We are sons of men. But he began to call himself Son of Man. And then it says in John chapter 1 verse 12, whoever believed on him, he gave the power to become sons of God. That's a divine exchange. I am the Son of God, but I'm going to be called Son of Man. And you, when you believe on me, I will call you Son of God, child of God. That life, I'll give you my life, and I'll take away your life. What does that mean? I want to take a few minutes to demonstrate this exchange. The life that came from heaven came because there was a mission to accomplish. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. Jesus' life did not come into the world to look for wealth, to look for a name, to look for a good house, to look for the vain glories of this world. because there's more wealth up there. There's more glory up there. There's better comfort up there. There's nothing desirable on earth that could have taken Christ from heaven to come and look for on earth. There's one overriding mission that brought him into the world. That life. I'm now calling you, beloved. Let us look at Christ as a life that was released like an arrow shot into the world. He came into the world with a purpose, with a mission to accomplish. Sometimes people would try to engage him into other activities. For example, a man came and said to him, "Judge between me and my brother. Our father died and my brother wants to take everything." And Jesus said, "Who appointed me to be judge over you?" In other words, in the mission my Father has given me, that does not future at all. And I'm not going to do it. He didn't do anything outside the mission of the Father. He practically said, "I do nothing except I see my Father do it. And I say nothing except I hear my Father say it." One day his brothers, in John chapter 7, his brothers came to him and said, "You are doing all these miracles. Let us go down to Jerusalem to the great convention so that you can do these miracles and everybody will believe you." And he said to them, "Your time is always there. Mine is not so. For I do all things when the Father ordains." So even going to Jerusalem is not my choice. I've got to wait for him to release me to go. And for them, they went and they left him behind. On the last day of the feast, he appears. And he speaks in the right time, in the right place, to the right people. He makes an impact and all Jerusalem knows about it. Jesus' life had one burden: the salvation of souls. At one time in John 5, he says to the Jews, "I have a lot to say about you, but I don't say anything except as my Father gives me. And all I say is that you may be saved." I want us to start studying this life. This life came from above. It came into the world, into a human body. God had to negotiate with a woman to allow her body to provide a human body for this life. And Mary said, "Let it be unto me as his word." So her body was used to produce a baby boy, a body of a baby boy for this life to come into. And that boy grew in favor and wisdom. But he knew what he was about. When he was 12 years old, they took him to the temple and they lost him. They had to come back after 2 days' travel. And when they came back, his mother said, "How could you do this to us?" And looked at her and said, "Woman, don't you know I'm supposed to be about my Father's business? There's no any other reason I'm in this world. I'm here for a mission. I'm here for my Father's business." One day he was preaching the gospel and they told him, "Your mother and your brothers are outside wanting to see you." And I said, "Look here, look at all these people who listen to the word. These are my brothers. These are my mother. Anyone who believes the word." Do you realize even family did not take first place to the mission that carried him? He was on mission. Day and night. He would preach the whole day, heal the sick, minister deliverance. And at the end of the day, everybody is so tired. And he tucks them to bed, takes them, "Okay, go rest." And as soon as they are asleep, he gets out and goes praying. He goes to seek the Father about tomorrow's program. I'm sure the apostles loved him. They loved him so much